ex-Jedi Ferrus Olin has been imprisoned by the Empire. His crime? Trying to save the Jedi Order. The sinister Empire won't be able to hold Ferrus for long. Not when he has a friend on the inside. But escaping is only part of the problem. Ferrus's quest is going to take him to the planet of Naboo, where a secret vital to the survival of the Jedi and the entire galaxy is being kept, and is in danger of being revealed. In order to keep this secret, Ferrus will have to face the ruthless Inquisitor Malorum. A battle will be fought, and lives will be lost. Who will die on Naboo?
Death on Naboo! That's what we're reviewing this week. Welcome to Padawan Library. I'm Levi Paratic. With me is Tim May.
Hey!
And we are the Star Wars Junior Novel Podcast. I'm changing it up.
Just trying to get through this quickly because we're recording late. It's going to go up late. Still on Friday. So
it's still on Friday.
We have not broken any sort of real trust. We never promised it was at midnight every Friday. Even though we've been very good about that. I think we only missed one time earlier.
Yeah.
Both of them have been my fault, so I want to put that out there.
Well, the one time we missed completely was my fault. So, like, that 1 week that we didn't have an episode.
I thought it was school problems that week.
No. The week we lost the episode because my end, didn't record it. So
this is the third time, really, because there was the 1 week when, I had finals, and I was just like, can we just do this over the weekend and put it out on Monday instead? And we did do that. And then when we missed the week completely, we lost your side of the audio for whatever reason. Not a big deal. And then today, it's just going to be up, in the early evening instead of, early morning. So people will be okay.
And it's fine, because I got nothing to do now. I'm free.
Oh, yeah, I heard about this.
Yes, I got fired.
This is so wild. I didn't know if you wanted to talk about it on the show. So.
I'll talk about it on the show because I haven't been this wronged since high school. So this is the most wronged I've been in my life in a decade.
All right, well, let me interview you about
this.
How about that?
All right.
All right, so you, for the listeners, you work, you live an itinerant lifestyle. You travel around the country and you work at mostly campgrounds.
Yes.
And doing odd jobs essentially for campgrounds in exchange for being able to stay there for free with your little trailer, essentially.
Yes.
Plus actual pay.
Plus actual pay.
Okay.
It's a work camper is the technical term for it.
Okay. So that's what you do, and for the last few months now, you've been in South Dakota, which we've made many amusing references to on this podcast.
Yes, I've been in the Black Hills.
And you've
been, Black Hills of South Dakota, which are an integral part of the plot of Twin Peaks Season 3, so...
which I just bought on Blu-ray. I'm finally going to get to it.
God,
I got it because I still had, so much credit at the exchange. I had, it's never gone down in price, the Blu-ray. I can even used, it's still, $60, so I was just I'm just going to get it now. The case is incredible. Have you seen that case?
I love that case. Is the best thing ever, especially once you watch and you understand what the case is saying.
I'm really excited.
Let me know when you get to episode 8.
I know everybody talks about episode 8. I'm aware. All right. Anyway, back to the interview. So you have been in South Dakota. You've been seemingly, at least from my conversations with you, and I think from the listeners might notice on the show, you don't seem to love it there. You're in South Dakota right now, still, right?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
So you've been working at this place. Let's set up what kind of place is this? How much of a workload is it?
Okay.
Let's
I will set this up. So this place is a 40-spot campground on 22 acres of land. So when it comes to that, you got the landscaping to worry about. It is a 20-room motel, so that includes the housekeeping of the hotel. It is a gas station. They have also 6 cabins, which, you also require housekeeping, and a full-service restaurant and bar. So, and this has been run by 6 people total. Me, Mel, the manager, her husband, who is the cook, and then when we got here, there was another couple here. They got disgruntled and quit because it's too much work for 6 people. And then another couple came in 3 weeks ago. So we've been here 3 months, and there's this other couple. Now, I will point out, so 6 people running this entire place 7 days a week. Mel and I work 40 hours, actually over 40 hours. We usually have like at least an hour of overtime. And, but to put this in perspective, I went to Taco Bell here in South Dakota on a Tuesday at noon, and there were 8 people working. 8 people just making tacos.
At a rural Taco Bell.
At a rural Taco Bell. It blew my mind. And that was just the afternoon shift.
That's probably what they need.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be a little overkill, I guess, but it's not, like, substantially.
But, like, the last campground we worked at, it was only the campground. Like, that was the only thing we took care of. And at our peak, we had 10 people working it. So it's like, there's just, this place is wildly understaffed. And, like, the owners who own it, they don't care about it because they originally co-signed for it with 2 young guys, and the 2 young guys took all the profits and gambled it all away. Like, they went to the casinos. And so, like, they lost it. It fell on the current owners, but they also own, like, a metal salvage yard and, like, an apartment complex. So this place is just, like, for them, this place operates at a loss, and it's just, like, a write-off on their taxes. So, like, they don't care about this place at all. Wow. So that's the situation.
All right,
that's the setup.
That's the setup. So, I'm gonna actually, because I don't know this, because last week I think it was, you and I were talking after we were recording, and you had mentioned there was some issue where you were accused of sleeping on the job, like sleeping on a couch, like during work hours.
Okay.
So when I first heard the basics that you got fired from friend of the show, Brooke White, I thought, oh, well, maybe it has to do with that. Although, by the way, I mean this, I give you a lot of shit on the show and outside the show. I cannot imagine a less plausible thing than you sleeping while working. You worked as a night watchman at a dorm during college, and you never slept on that job.
I know,
and that's a job where you could be forgiven for falling asleep. It's crazy. So I was shocked by this. I was like, well, they're like. And, you try not to, assume just, I'm friends with this guy, so I believe. But, there's no way you're sleeping, especially on a couch, just, laying out on a couch.
And I found out more about that from the manager's husband, too. So, my manager approached me and said, well, the one day, the TV remotes were missing. There's 2 TVs in the restaurant, and the remotes were missing. We had bad weather the one day. I wanted to turn them on to figure out, what the weather was. Couldn't find the remotes anywhere. 2 days later go by, my manager says, so it's been brought to my attention, I've received some phone calls that you've been sleeping on the couch.
Phone calls.
And that's why I hid the remotes. She hid the remotes to prevent me from sleeping on the couch. So the ones I'm thinking I never sleep on the couch. Do I sit down sometimes because my feet hurt? Yeah, I do that on occasion because my feet hurt. But I will say everybody here smokes, and they go on smoke breaks. So it's me sitting on the couch for 5 minutes and checking my phone is no different than them going out and having a cigarette break.
Of course not.
Well, when she told me this, I couldn't believe what was being said. And I had like no response. I almost put my 2 weeks in that day. But I found out from her husband, the cook, that the previous couple, the ones that had quit and left, they were the first ones to accuse me of sleeping on the couch because they apparently came in on a day that I was off and talked to the manager and said, oh yeah, we stopped in last night after our shift and he was sitting on the couch with his eyes closed. Just
I don't even...
when I heard that story, I had Violent Femmes Never Tell stuck in my head the entire day. I was like, I'll stand right up in the heart of hell.
Check it out on Apple Music, kids.
Yes, on Hallowed Ground, their second studio album.
Fantastic record.
Fantastic.
This doesn't seem to have had anything necessarily to do with what ultimately happened then.
No. What ultimately happened is, so the other couple who just got here, this is their first work camping job. They are former truckers. Mm-hmm. She has 25 years trucking experience. He has 5. And they lost their route. They had a food delivery route, and they lost it because of COVID-19. Okay. So they've become work campers. First work camping job. We're getting along fine. The only thing that's a little weird is they keep giving us stuff. Like, they keep making us food and stuff. And I keep saying, like, please don't make us any food. Like, you don't need to be giving us stuff because to me, because I know that I am never going to put forth the effort and like return the favor. Like, I am never going to make you food.
Wow.
Like, I'm never going to give you any gifts. Like,
this is the first time I think you've started to look bad in this situation. Not because you told them not to make you food, but the reasoning you're expressing right now on mic. You're just like, I know I'm never going to put forth the effort.
I know. It's like I should be upfront, but also too, like, I'm in no interest in making friends in this place. Like, I'm just here to work.
And also, you're only there till September, so like,
right.
Even if like there were people you like maybe could be friends with, it's like, do you want to like invest in that right now?
Exactly, which was a problem I had in Texas. Texas was difficult to leave because like we got along with everybody. Yeah. But you pointing out that I'm only here till September is what's key in my firing here. So the other couple are contracted to work through the winter. This place is open for snowmobile season, and that's apparently like big around here. So they're contracted all the way through winter, and so Tuesday morning, it's my last day of a 5-day stretch. I wake up early, beautiful sun shining day. I go outside, I sit, I finish reading this book. I think, oh, damn, I got the book done early this week. It's going to be a good day. We walk in, manager goes, so I got to let you guys go. And we're like, why? And she said, because the other couple gave me an ultimatum. They said they refuse to work with you guys anymore, and if I don't fire you, they're quitting, and I have to choose them because they're here all winter, and you're only here till September.
And, okay, so, this was shocking to me when I heard this. I was thinking, obviously, the place is already understaffed, so 4 people working it is going to be worse. But I was also thinking about this. What if they're just like, they don't actually have any real personal problems with you guys, but it's just like, we can get 60 hours in the short term if we get rid of these people.
Yeah, because that's exactly what they're all
working. They're going to have to take up some of the slack since you guys aren't working.
Yeah, exactly. I like it.
Because that's the only motivation I can think of that makes any sense.
I know.
Because even if they were annoyed by the food thing, to be that annoyed to like
Exactly.
Like, that seems a little crazy.
And you know what? What blows my mind is, so like the guy had the one day Mel was in the office doing reservation. She was doing office work, and like he threw a fit because she wasn't like cleaning rooms, and he clocked out 3 hours early, drove away, came back with friends, and they had a barbecue while he should have been working. And it's like, obviously I want to tell the boss about this, but I'm not a fucking narc like everybody else here.
You don't suck
like,
up to fucking management.
Yeah,
Fuck
exactly. Exactly. It is bad enough management already thinks I sleep on the job, so I have no credibility as it is. So, like, it's just, it's so stupid.
Well, from what I understand, you guys are at least in a stable enough place that you'll be okay for the moment while you look for something else. So
yeah, we're gonna be.
The listeners don't need to worry or anything. But like,
send money to. No, I don't need money. But here's the kicker. Here's the kicker, though.
I need money more than you, it sounds like, to me. I heard you guys had, like, bills paid through December or something like that.
Yeah, I have bills. I have money. Well, I made... What's crazy is, like, I'm at my last... Then from Texas to here, we made $600 more a month. Like, here. The money was great. In fact, and so, by not working these last 2 months, I'm basically being cheated out of $4,000 in pay, and if I finished my contract, I was going to get $1,000 bonus. So, like, by them ousting us,
$5,000.
I'm like out $5,000, and like in this, like, and we had planned, we've been saving money, and like our plan was, well, we'll use that money, we'll keep saving, and eventually we'll buy a house to like flip, because we're thinking we're not going to be work campers forever, and I want to maybe try flipping a house and see what happens. But now that
classic Jeremy Renner behavior.
Yes, exactly like Jeremy Renner. Legendary Renner. Have you ever listened to his country music?
He's a maniac. One of the weirdest people on earth.
Well, he did a Jeep commercial where, like, he's touring.
I've seen it.
Yeah, I listened to his album because I was Jeremy Renner, country artist. So
strange. Anyway, but yeah, no, like, if you don't know, Jeremy Renner does house flipping. That's the only joke. Which is, and there was a big profile of him like 5 or 6 years ago in like literally a house flipping magazine. Like, and that it's just funny. I think about it every 3 or 4 weeks or something.
You know what other celebrity flips houses? Vanilla Ice. Vanilla Ice had he's a piece of shit, but
But yeah, so that's crazy. I mean, I guess, and they're letting you stay to wait for packages to come in, it sounds like.
Yeah, literally day before I've had the itch to play video games. Day before I went on eBay, I bought a PlayStation 2 and I bought like 6 games. So I have like 7 packages coming. So they said I could stay up to 2 weeks. I bought only Star Wars games, by the way, and a Grand Theft Auto
what'd you
game.
get? Which Star Wars games?
I got Super Bombad Racing, which is the very first PlayStation 2 game. It's a Mario Kart-esque Episode 1 racing game. I got Battlefront 2. I got Star Wars Demolition, which is actually a PlayStation 1 game that's a Twisted Metal knockoff.
Yeah, so I remember this. Twisted Metal,
very
classic.
Fun game. Yep, and then I bought San Andreas. That was one of the other ones, and I can't recall what else I got. But
San Andreas, I think, is the best.
I agree.
Game. That and Vice City, those two are like, to me, that's when they had like pretty cool stories, even if they were mostly just rip-offs of movies. But like, they had pretty cool stories, and like it was a big enough world to feel like you could explore, but it wasn't so big that like just everything got lost in the shuffle.
Yeah. So. I agree. And, like, San Andreas 2 is, like... Because, like, Vice City was such an improvement over 3. Because I feel like I've gone back and played the games before, and I'm unable to play 3. I feel like it's too...
3 is a little too primitive.
Yeah, it's too primitive. But Vice City, like, took it up a notch, and then San Andreas, like, took the improvements that Vice City made and then blew it up. Like, to such a large scale.
But then I think the more recent ones are just too obsessed with the world. And,
they
don't
big.
have an interesting... like through
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, to just briefly touch on a Star Wars topic besides your games that you bought for your PS2. I guess the High Republic stuff got pushed back to January.
Oh,
you see this?
no, I didn't see this.
So that actually helps our schedule. Like, we won't have to fit that in.
Yeah, because we were figuring out how the hell we were going to do that.
So that's nice. I wonder if they just wanted to have, like, big events, maybe, like, in terms of launching it, and that's why they didn't. Like, because that's the only thing I can think of.
They pushed movies back. Did you see that? Disney pushed back their entire slate.
The Avatar news is crushing to me.
I know.
I'm so I know, like, probably a lot of our listeners are like, what? Who cares about Avatar? That old... I care about Avatar. That's who. And I've been waiting for this fucking movie now. It's 11 years now, and it was going to be 12 with its last release date, and now it's going to be 13 years.
That's insanity.
And, like, the thing is, they're on track to finish it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're shooting in New Zealand. Filming. There are zero cases in New Zealand. They're filming it normally with, like, they don't have to do anything. They just had to, like, they had to, like, quarantine for 2 weeks when they flew in, and that's it. Like, and if they tested positive, then they're fine. The whole country is a fucking, like, bubble. So it's like, so they're actually on track to finish on time. So it's clearly just, like, I think they're thinking, you know, some of our big movies for this year are going to be put in that place and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just like... And then I guess the Star Wars dates got pushed back, but who knows what those movies even are, so I didn't care about that.
But the date... did you see the dates, though? They're 2023, 2025, and 2027. And I did the math. So it's a trilogy, I guess. Yeah, and I did the math. We will be 36 when the third movie comes out. And that... I'll be on the upside of 40. I'm not even 30 yet.
Will I be 36? I think I'll be 35, baby.
Oh, shit.
I'm 28 right now.
Right, I'm 29.
And I turned 29 in August. And then, so I don't turn 30 until next year. Same with you, but you were born in January, so.
Yeah.
But still, whatever. Anyway, so
that's the only Star Wars news.
That's, I mean, as far as the High Republic thing, they're not pushing back, like, the Thrawn date, so I'm guessing they wanted to do a big, like, launch event, probably.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they thought, well, by August. But no, of course not, because, you know, we're a third world country. Like, in terms of this, anyway. Whatever.
The pure madness of our country, and like the fact that like he's gone back and said, yeah, maybe masks are a good idea, and he just canceled the Republican convention. Like that says something. That says.
I'm glad he's doing it now, I guess, but it's like too fucking late. Whatever. Okay. So,
yeah. Like, did you know if you die in Florida right now, it's 2 weeks. It's a 2-week late waiting list to be cremated.
Okay. Anyway, I hope everybody's gonna have a great weekend. All right.
I hope so too.
Basketball's back though, baby.
Baseball is too.
The baseball, I think, is in great danger. The way they're playing, they're still traveling and shit. I don't understand how that works. Basketball, like, fingers crossed, but like I think they might be able to pull this off.
Because isn't basketball only in Orlando right now?
They are in a mostly impenetrable bubble atmosphere. So like they're like all the players, coaches, and reporters. There's only like 20 reporters there, but like all of them are essentially getting tested every day. Mm-hmm. They're like, and like no one can come in and out. There's one potential issue with the Disney employees because it's on. It's at the ESPN Wide World Sports at Disney World.
Yep.
And the potential issue there is that like the Disney employees, because they have their own union, they have to deal. They had to negotiate their own thing, and they have a lot less leverage than NBA players. So like they aren't getting tested every day, and they're also going home every night.
Yeah.
So like, but they're also not interacting with anybody that's like there for the basketball. Like they can't be in the same room at the same time. So hopefully And fingers crossed. I mean, it's been 2 weeks and there have been 0 positive tests. So
that's good.
I
did hear a hilarious thing that all the basketball players are staying at the Grand Floridian.
Well,
which is...
they're staying at 3 different hotels: the Grand Destino, the Grand Floridian, and the what is it called? The Yacht Club.
Oh, I know.
Those are the 3 hotels they're staying at.
The Yacht Club was a Michael Eisner driven thing. He was very, very insistent about the Yacht Club. But I've heard that half of the Grand Floridian is still open to guests because it's.
But they're like completely like blocked off from each other.
Yeah. But here's the funny thing that has happened. So. The Grand Floridian sits and it has a huge view of the Magic Kingdom. It's like right next to the Magic Kingdom. It's one of the most expensive hotels you could stay at on property. And they've built a large blue wall straight through the middle of the lobby, dividing the hotel into 2 halves. And the NBA players get the view of the Magic Kingdom. Guests do not. So
well, you got 2 giant corporations that have lost a lot of money this year, and they're like, whatever, we're going to get together.
Yes. We're going to share some money, and we're going to be all right.
Listen, I'm excited for basketball. I feel maybe that's morally repugnant for me to be excited about basketball, but it is what it is. Anyway, we've been talking a long time. I can't believe it. This is a long intro. All right. Well, I hope that you find some rest and some good time for rest and contemplation over these next few weeks. And if you need a new job in the near future, I hope that comes easily to you. And good luck in the immediate future.
Thank you very much. So, all
right. Fuck those people, that couple, and fuck your managers.
Recreational Springs, Leeds, South Dakota. So, if you want, go on Google and just write that like you had a Philly cheesesteak with rancid cheese on it.
You're not going to make me cut this out later, are you?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
No.
Okay, that's all on you. Your name will be blacklisted in the what is
in
this?
the Black Hills?
No, what's the in the Black Hills? What's the thing called? Like the campground? Like what's the working position called again?
I'll be blacklisted along work campers. So,
work camping community. You're going to be blacklisted.
Yeah, I am.
If people hear this podcast, just a heads up.
Yep, just a heads up.
I mean, there's plenty of other types of jobs in the world.
I don't know if I've said it on the podcast here, but I have made a vow. I think I've told you this, but I have made a vow that I am never, ever returning to the state of South Dakota again. So,
well, on that note, live from PA, baby. Stay tuned.
Greatest state in the nation. I've lived in many states.
Our numbers aren't the greatest right now. I spoke too soon last week, maybe. Erie County, though, was surprisingly good. So I'll say that.
I bet things are bad in my neck of the woods because, like, I hear Trumbull County in Ohio is bad, and I'm 20 minutes away from Trumbull County at home.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I haven't looked at their numbers. That's Mercer County, right?
Yeah, Mercer.
I haven't looked lately, but whatever. They're better than Florida and Texas and etc. So
yes.
There's that. Anyway, all right. So stay tuned. We'll be talking about Death on Naboo, the 4th book in the Last of the Jedi series. Come on back.
Yep.
Welcome back to Padawan Library. I'm Tim May, here as always with Levi Peretic.
Hello.
All right, so this week we're covering The Last of the Jedi, number 4, Death on Naboo. So this book. So last week we left off with Ferris imprisoned by Inquisitor Malorum, and then we're so. Oh my God, I'm out of it.
Well,
right
then
now.
there's the Erased with Solace, and they're being attacked by the Empire. So that's where we had 2 cliffhangers at the end of the last book. So that's where we're left off, And this book, of course, big promise that there's going to be death in this book.
Yes, it's called Death on Naboo.
I like the plot on the back where it says, "Who will die on Naboo?" Yeah. So anyway, so this book picks up. It actually opens with Malorum meeting Sheev. He has a meeting with Sheev. This was a cool scene. We learned that Malorum hates Sly Moore. He thinks she's a suck-up. He has choice words for her. And then he dreams of being emperor, or at least a Sith apprentice. So he wants to be number one, but he'll settle for number two. And he also believes that Sheev thinks Vader is a disappointment, which I found interesting. But he also knows that Anakin Skywalker is Darth Vader. Somehow Malorum knows this, and his whole point...
He knows it because he saw at the
Jedi Temple.
What? I'm sorry. What's the line in Sith? Like, I saw the...
I saw the tapes. I think it is.
Well, it's not the tape. It's like the hollow recordings. Like he literally says, like, "I saw the hollow recordings." Some shit like that. I don't know. Sorry, all our listeners just dropping us, unsubscribing. Like they don't know that line. What the fuck?
They can't quote Revenge of the Sith verbatim. Get out of here. Have you ever seen like? Mel showed me videos before of like just guys hanging out in a room and like they're watching Revenge of the Sith and they quote like the final exchange between like Obi-Wan and Anakin like verbatim like together in like a chant like
so strange.
I know.
That's weird. Okay. They would film it. Not that they would do it. Like that's funny. Like I something, but like the fact they'd film it and put it up.
Well, they love it that much. They just love Revenge of the Sith that much.
Anyway, so.
But anyway, so he knows Annie is Vader, and he wants to use Ferris as like a way to get more knowledge on Anakin Skywalker. So that's his big plot of having Ferris in jail. Let's see. Okay. So then we go to the prison. Ferris is in prison, and the prison is called Don Tamo prison. And I thought that was kind of the fact that it ends in an O made me think of Guantanamo. It's like it's described as being like the worst.
2005 still, I believe. But yeah,
yes, it is.
That's, makes sense.
So so this prison's rough. Don't tangle with prisoner 67. That's bad.
I will say the prison section of this book, which is roughly the first half, and we can actually discuss it more. I'm not trying to just speed through it. I will say I found this stretch of the book a little difficult to get invested. I was expecting. I love prison escape stuff, so you'd think, like, I don't know. For some reason, it was just, I struggled until they got to the second half of the book. I don't know why.
Well, like, I definitely found, like, the race plot more intriguing, which is something I do like about this book, is that, like, I'm starting to actually care for all these characters. Like, I'm starting to care for Solace. I'm actually fine with Trevor. And then we also
fine. I was worried about him, but he's fine.
Yeah, he's fine. And we get Keats, too. And then we get this new boy of Ferris's, his buddy. What's his name? Let's see here. His name is Clive Flax, former musician and double agent. The prison stuff, I agree. Like, it just kind of drug on a little bit. I love that they set up this. She sets up this roommate of Ferris's, who like you think will become something, and then after Ferris has his entanglement with prisoner 67, his roommate's just like, well, I'm going to go to the infirmary. I don't want to be your roommate anymore. And Ferris is like, but you said anybody who goes to the infirmary doesn't come out. And he goes, yeah, I'd rather be dead than be around you. Like, the guy just basically like kills himself rather than being Ferris's roommate. But then, Ferris gets his friend Clive Flax to help him out, who kills...
The way Clive Flax is introduced, this character, Clive Flax, is as though we would know him from somewhere.
Exactly.
He's introduced
right?
at the end of a chapter, like, and it's like Clive Flax, like, so, like, and I was just like, is this someone like I'm forgetting about from like Jedi Quest or something? And I like looked him up and was like, no, first appearance, Death on Naboo. I was like, what is happening? And then they explain the backstory in a minute, but it's
right. He's a former client of like Ferris's and Roan's, and like they help.
By the way,
out,
Ferris and Roan, definitely a couple. There's a
oh.
whole sequence in this book where he's remembering his happiest memory, and it's going swimming with Roan.
Yeah, okay. Oh, this on page 12. Okay, let's see. Ferris felt his cellmate turn away. He lay on his back staring at the ceiling and clutching the rock. Not sure what he had a rock for. Was this all he had left? Hanging on to a memory, replaying it until death came for him. The best day of his life. ... He and Roan went on a hiking trip on the neighboring world of Tati. Deep in the forest, coming up upon a waterfall that slid into a deep pool of green. They had been so hot they dived in, straight to the bottom. The water was so cold they came up shivering and laughing, so...
Yeah, I'm not even... listen, I mean, obviously at this time it was probably impossible to make that explicit, but there's no way that's not, like, what the relationship's supposed to be. So
yeah, they're very, very close friends.
They are lovers. So
confirmed bachelors, as they would say back in the day.
Well, probably before this time. 2005 seems a little late for that, but yes, maybe in the 50s.
Yes.
Anyway.
But with Clive, well, first off, Clive kills prisoner 67 with a data card, which he throws straight Gambit style, and him and Clive escape together, and not really much happens there other than the fact that they escape. Ferris first off, there's this whole thing about Malorum wanting to use Ferris to get information on Vader. However, he just decides, well, you know what? I'm going to go to Naboo and look up more things about Padme Amidala. So just execute him. I don't need him. So he escapes from his execution. Him and Clive escape the facility, and this is also at the same time that the Erased, with Dexter's help, decide they're going to go rescue him, and they figure out what prison he's at, and they show up just as they're escaping, and they all get out of the Dontanamo easy peasy.
Yeah, and then they meet up in space, basically. Yep. So at this point, Malorum had met with the Emperor at the beginning of the book, and he's stewed about how much he hates Vader. And he's decided, because, he's been looking into Padme's death, and he's decided that he needs to go to Naboo. He needs to go on a fact-finding mission to Naboo to figure out more about her funeral. Maybe that will help lead him to find out how she died, like get confirmation of what he suspects, clearly. So he goes there, and...
they have a tradition in Naboo, this tradition makes no sense to me, because the tradition is if you die, your grandmothers or grandparent prepare the body, but this makes no this makes
how
sense.
How often is that a possibility?
Right? How often do your grandchildren die before you? That's what makes.
Not saying it happens, but it's not like. That's not the norm.
No, it's definitely not the norm.
Very strange. So anyway, and so he's going around Theed, and he's trying to find information about the burial, and nobody's telling him anything. And they're kind of all being very polite, but they're just like, we don't know, we can't tell you. They're trying to protect the privacy.
And what's interesting too is that the Empire has not taken over the government of Naboo. Well, that Naboo, they have a station, they have an army, they took over a hangar, and they're stockpiling weapons, which is against Naboo law. Yeah. But they have not taken over the government yet. So,
and they our crew, Ferris and Trevor and the rest, they all are like, somebody had heard that he was going to Naboo. Ferris, I guess, and so they and Ferris is like, we have to go because he had made a promise to Obi-Wan that he would anything around Naboo or Queen Amidala or Senator, I should say, etc. That's all. That could all be difficult. So that all needed to be investigated, but he doesn't know why or for what purpose. So anyway, Malorum's getting really pissed off, and so he decides, he's like, I'm going to just find out where her two grandmothers live. He goes to a records office, asks, then threatens, finds out one of her grandmothers is still alive. What's the character's name?
Ryo.
Ryu, I think.
Ryu. Yeah, Ryu Thule. Also, I wanted to, when he goes to the records office, citizens of Naboo don't have to register as citizens. What a peaceful, ideological planet.
Yeah, although it still produced Sheev Palpatine, so
it did,
wild.
Which is not mentioned in the book.
I noticed that
it's his home world. Yeah,
I will say this: Naboo seems to be, we'll get into it a little more once we meet another character from the movies. But Naboo in this universe, the Legends timeline, seems to be kind of a bastion of freedom in the Empire. Whereas if you read the Leia book that Claudia Gray wrote for the new canon, right?
Right, yeah.
And in that book, it's protected because it's Sheev's homeworld. It's peaceful, but it's under Empire rule, very heavily. But I mean, of course, that's also 10 or 15 years after this. So
because you have Grand Moff Panaka,
yes,
in the new canon.
That was cool as hell. But anyway,
I agree.
So he finds out that Ryu, the grandma Ryu, she lives out in the lake region. So out in the lakes, by the lakes on Naboo, and so he heads over there, and our landing party lands right outside Theed. They're looking around, and they run into who?
Captain Gregor, who I didn't know that was his first name, Typho!
Typho himself. And if you didn't know, Typho, I think it's in one of the Clone Wars novels, the Clone Wars Multimedia Project novels. Typho had the hots for Padme. In this universe. So I'm curious. It doesn't really play into the story at all, but notable. So anyway, and he was pissed. He didn't like Anakin. He was like, this guy's suspicious. So, but what were his motivations? Were they was it because he was right and he should have been suspicious of Anakin, or was it just because he was moving in on who he saw as his girl? Who knows?
Well, we find out Padme's family was also suspicious of Anakin, which makes me want to go back and rewatch the deleted scenes from Episode 2 to see if Ryu is in them. The scenes I'm talking about where we meet Padme's
she's
family.
not. I went onto her Wikipedia page and there was a picture of her daughter, Padme's mother, but not a picture. She's only ever appeared in this book. I thought maybe she had been in the Episode 1 journal that Jude wrote, because I was the only one who read that for our podcast over a year ago now. But I couldn't really remember. I was trying to, if she was, I wanted to refresh my memory on her role in that, and she wasn't in that. So yeah, this is the only time she's ever appeared. But anyway, so they all arrive, Captain Typho, and they kind of talk to Typho, and Typho's just we don't fuck with this Empire shit, we don't like this base, it's against the law and all this stuff, and so basically Malorum, I should actually go back to Malorum goes to the lake,
right, and
visits with Ryu. And Ryu's having a very peaceful day, and then she just starts to feel something's off.
Something inside.
And she's remembering her granddaughter, Padme, and she's...
Her favorite granddaughter, by the way. You definitely get that vibe.
And so...
You definitely get that vibe.
She, and then Malorum encounters her, and Malorum essentially then starts just inquisitoring, and inquiring would be the actual word. And so then he, asks all about, his suspicions, tries to get information out of her, and it was when he asked, like, she was pregnant, and, like, then she kind of pauses, and it's just like, oh, the child is alive, and, like, clearly Ryu believes that's true, and, like, she kind of gives it up there, not, like, purposefully, but... And so then he, like, keeps going after her, but she's just like, I'm not going to tell you anything, and he's just like, well, what she knows, she doesn't know as much as she thinks she does, and whatever, so he kills her.
He kills her, yep.
And
something I did see recently that I guess I never noticed.
Naboo, by the way.
But when at Padme's funeral, she has a baby bump still, despite the fact that Luke and Leia aren't in there. So the thing I saw about that is that they put something up in there, to keep the secret.
Most of it. I mean, you don't. Obviously, it wouldn't be visible, especially in that kind of outfit. So yeah, no, that, like, obviously she wouldn't, like, be losing all that weight just by giving birth, but it's like, yeah, no, it's like, yeah, it would not be it would be flattened under like a royal outfit like that. So yeah, interesting. So she
well, she dies. The gang shows up, and Malorum is escaping, so they give chase to Malorum. Well, Ferris has Ryu's dying moments, and, like, she's just like, he knows, and of course Ferris doesn't know what he knows, but he knows that he has his promise to Obi-Wan that he has to keep. So they give chase. This chase ends up over water with gondola speeders, and of course they have to stop him. The Empire does show up, and they blast everybody into the water. So Ferris is in the water, Saul is,
you can
Keats,
see where this might be going.
Yes, they're in the water, and it seems like there is no hope. But then a bongo shows up, of course, and there's a Gungan rescue. They're taken back to the Gungan city, and then they meet
I love
Boss
how much
Nass.
Ferris is just like, I love these Gungans.
I know, right?
Like, there's not... Because a lot of times, especially starting around this point, because this was after Episode 3, if Gungans were mentioned in Expanded Universe stuff, there was some level of derision often, like, just kind of implicit in the writing, but none of that here. It's just like, Gungans fucking rule.
And
they're this great warrior race,
Yeah, and Trevor's like, oh, I love the way they walk, So,
oh my God, so good. They meet Boss Nass, who is still the boss, so it's a different timeline from canon, because in canon there's boss, I believe, Neytiri, I think. No, Neytiri is from Avatar. That's Zoe Saldana in Avatar, sorry. But regardless, there's a different boss in Clone Wars, right. I believe. So
which yields a very funny episode of Clone Wars where Jar Jar has to pretend to be boss, and he sits across the table from General Grievous, and they're negotiating.
Classic
and the fact that Grievous does not kill him is the funniest thing ever. So
no Jar Jar appearance. I thought maybe he would show up here.
Yeah, sadly not. But so anyway. We missed this whole part where Ferris, he talks to the Queen, asks her a favor to silence the comms, so that way if they find Malorum, they can get him. Well, once they meet to Boss Nass, they get the Queen on the holo, and they're like, okay, I have one more favor to ask of both of you. And they're like, all right, what is it? And he goes, I need you guys to attack the Empire. And they're like, whoa, I don't know about that. We're going to, then we're going to be in trouble. And he goes, no, I got a plan. We attack the Empire. We have to kill everybody. And then since there's all these explosives that they're illegally stockpiling on the planet, we're going to set the charges and blow the place up and make it look like an accident. And they're like, well, okay, if you say it'll work. So the Naboo forces and the Gungans, of course,
and
attack the Empire. Yep.
And then Malorum, of course, is still around. And Ferris gets into a lightsaber duel with Malorum in the same spot where the Qui-Gon Obi-Wan Darth Maul duel happened.
Right, and like even Ferris is like he knows it from the stories because it's like a legend among the Padawans. Like, I mean, that would be a big deal. Sith have been gone for a millennia, and then all of a sudden the Sith Lord shows up. Like, yes, that would be a huge story in the temple. So, but they have a lightsaber battle.
They even have like a thing with the laser walls or whatever, which is, by the way, probably the best part of Phantom Menace in my view.
I agree. The lightsaber battle.
That particular part of the lightsaber battle. Mm-hmm. Like when fucking Maul's just like stalking back and forth. Yeah. And then Qui-Gon looks Obi-Wan looks nervous, and then Qui-Gon just like kneels down, starts praying like it's the hardest shit ever. That is so hard.
Oh,
anyway.
and then the added tension there of Obi-Wan being stuck behind the final wall whenever Qui-Gon is killed. Good. That just makes such a moment there.
So they have like a big kind of interaction here, Ferris and Malorum, and Ferris is kind of like, motherfucker, you're just like some rando Inquisitor. You're not a real Sith. Like, even though he's not a real Jedi in his mind anyway, and ultimately like. Fucking similar thing happens. He kind of like Malorum gets thrown down a shaft. Basically, isn't that what happens?
Yeah. Yep. He falls down a shaft because he like drops his lightsaber. Ferris knocks it out of his hand, and Malorum goes for the lightsaber, and that's how he falls down into the shaft. So he dies in the same shaft that Darth Maul fell.
And then they blow up the building. Though we don't see a body or anything, so I think Malorum may be back. That's my prediction.
I mean, Darth Maul survived. Darth Maul ended up on the trash planet, so anything's possible.
Yes. He wasn't back at this point in real life yet, so maybe not.
No, he was still dead.
So then they go back to Typho and to the Queen, and they're like, thank you, like the Empire's not going to come after us, like, and we got them kind of off the planet, at least for now. It's great news. And so Ferris and Trevor and what's her name,
Solace,
and her crew and all that,
and Clive Flax,
the
legend Clive Flax.
Yeah. So Ferris offers that you guys can all come back with me to my hidden asteroid, and like they all eventually like reluctantly agree, and like they're about to head off when.
And I'll read this.
Yes. Something crazy happens.
Ferris's comlink is buzzing. So, all right. So, Ferris's comlink signaled. That was strange. There were only a few people in the galaxy with access. He walked a few steps away from the others. The message played, a miniature hologram. He stared, listening, and ice entered his veins. He walked back to the others and placed his comlink on his palm. He held it out. I think you need to see this. The image of Sheev Palpatine shimmered in the air.
Yes. This was from 2005.
Greetings, Master Olin. I think you deserve that title. Hard, there. He calls him a Jedi Master. Times have changed, and you have changed with them. I think our departed Inquisitor Malorum was a bit too hard on you. On behalf of the Empire, I'd like to offer you amnesty. Amnesty. Hey, what about me? Clive demanded at the message. I am issuing you an invitation, Palpatine's message continued. Come visit me on Coruscant. I'll give you my personal word that you'll have safe passage. Let's speak together, and what if I offer doesn't interest you? You may take my amnesty and go. This offer stands for 24 hours from the receipt of this message. I hope I see you soon. We have much to discuss. Until then, farewell. The hologram faded. Ferris looked up at his friends. So, he said, what should we do? Accept a date with the Emperor? Ooh. And that's how the book ends.
So yeah, crazy.
I love that. I love this ending.
That will be. Yeah, that got me pretty excited about about A Tangled Web, book 5 in the series. Unfortunately, we're not covering it for 2 weeks.
No, and that's also, too, something about these books is everyone ends in a cliffhanger.
Yeah, which is kind of unusual for Jude.
Because the first one had Boba Fett, was the cliffhanger in that one.
Yeah.
The second book, I can't remember, but the third book was, of course, that Ferris ended up in prison and they got attacked. And then Sheev shows up at the end of this one. So here's what I'll say about these books so far. These books, I was worried about these books going in, but I like these books. There's nothing about these books that I absolutely hate, and what I find that I'm really starting to appreciate is, like, even though these are all entirely original characters, I'm starting to, like, care and like these characters. So I think that's, like, something that Jude's doing very well on these books. However, I think these characters, though, aren't reaching, and the stories aren't reaching midi-chlorian levels. You know, like,
they haven't
everything...
yet. I felt like the first book, like, I think I said this.
That was the closest.
That came very close, I think, but that had Obi-Wan, you know, and
that had
a
Obi-Wan
lot of
in it.
Obi-Wan stuff. Like, I'm very much enjoying this series. I think on a book-to-book level, it's a little less compelling than the other ones because, like, I don't think the stories are as individually compelling so far. Is my biggest issue with it.
And
it's a little more like heavily serialized.
Yes, it's more of an arc rather than episodic.
And so, like, I like the characters. I think the setting is. I'm really interested in the setting. This book, once they got to Naboo, I think it gets conceived in midi-chlorians pretty quick. Mm-hmm. But before that, I think it's like the fact that that's less than half the book instead of they should like the inverse basically. Like when they get to Naboo, it's like, oh, there's 45 pages left. Like that's like. That should have been the opposite to me, just because that stuff's all super interesting. The stuff with the escaping from prison, like, it's good and effective. Like, I don't want to, like, talk too much shit, but it was, like, I wish it was, I just wish it was stronger. And also you had all your characters separated, and you also have a bunch of new characters. So, like, having the characters, like, separated... At this point, not that Ferris is new, but the other characters, having them all separate from Ferris, so like you don't have the way in with them through Ferris, who we know Ferris from another series, and he's also the main character of the series. So we have like, whereas Trevor is not very well established until this book. You know what I mean? I just think I like the characters as types, but a lot of them haven't really fully jumped out to me yet.
Right. I'm getting to like the characters.
Yeah.
Like that's the one thing. I'm not annoyed by any of them.
No, they're all potentially very good characters. I just think, and it's also a problem with. I think it was a problem with Jedi Quest too. Like clearly, the shorter series length, I think, is less good for Jude. Like I think the sprawl of Apprentice really helps that series because that series feels like truly large in scope. Even though, like, it's telling a lot of smaller stories, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So
I agree. But this is, and I mean, we love Jude. We will never ever diss Jude. No. And I think something that she's doing very well in these books too is grasping the just how the empires hold, just the time period that these books take place. She's really grasping what's going on in the galaxy and how that affects everybody. So I have enjoyed that. So I mean, we'll see how this series turns out.
I'm having a good
because
time.
we have to be building to something. And I think one of the biggest things we're building to is, of course, when Ferris finds out that Anakin is Vader. And they have to have it. Yeah. That's going to happen, and there has to be a huge fight there, So
I'm excited for that one. I mean, listen. So I will say, like, as much as we just kind of, maybe were a little critical of it, this book left me really excited for the next one. Not just because of the Sheev thing, but just I'm excited to see them. I want to see them return to the asteroid. I want to see. To me, like, that asteroid would be a lot more exciting in a longer series because then that would be the home base that they could. You know what I mean? Like. It'd be like the magic shop in Buffy,
yes, exactly.
Or you know what I mean, or like
the library, or
the library in the early seasons. I don't know why I went to the magic shop, but that's fine.
The magic shop's a cool place too.
I love the magic shop too, but yeah. So Yeah, but no, I thought this was very good, though. Like, I'm still giving it, like, I'm going to give it, like, a 9 out of 10. I thought the last third of it was incredible. Like, probably my favorite stretch of the series so far. So, it left on a really high note. I think the prison escape was a little protracted. I wonder if it's just because, like, she was like, okay, well, we left with a cliffhanger of him in prison. We can't get him out of prison. Like,
I have to get him out. But
we have to, like, take a while to get him out of prison, is my point.
It could be, like, a bigger thing. And, like, speaking of a great prison break and, you know, first parts of things not being and the second part being, like, better, I recently watched Temple of Doom. And the big breakout from the children's slave camp, you know, that is a huge scene, and that is an exciting scene, and that's easily the best part of the movie. So, like, you know, like, Ferris could have freed everybody from this prison or created some sort of a riot, you know, like, he could have left more with a bang rather than him just, he gets out, and that's it, you know, like, he kind of, so. Yeah, but,
I mean, that also happens at a kind of a that's, like, not quite the climax, but it's right before the climax of Temple of Doom, so, like, it's, like, just built a little, like, I mean, that movie's a little wobbly, but, like, that's, like just struck.
The end is incredible, though.
Oh, yeah, there's so many great set pieces.
There's so many,
But
there's a lot of goofy things.
Oh yeah, it's not, you know, whatever. On a filmmaking level, I think it's like better than Last Crusade, but the script for Last Crusade is so much better. You know what I mean? Like, it's I think the set pieces in Temple of Doom are like so fucking high level, but like.
There's the one thing I didn't remember about Temple of Doom and seeing it this time was, like, imagine being like a 12-year-old boy who loved Raiders of the Lost Ark. They get to Temple of Doom, they are so excited, and the movie opens with a song and tap dance routine. That is so good. That is incredible.
No, I mean, I loved that when I was a kid, to be fair. Like, so I think that, I mean, whatever. Temple of Doom, you know, I like it. Anyway, so
I like it too. It's the third, in my opinion. It's the third.
It's the third best overall. I think it has my. I mean, Raiders is in a class by itself, but Temple of Doom, I think, has better action scenes than Last Crusade.
And something I'll say about
that's my feeling.
And on this viewing too, I love Short Round. Think that Short Round gets as much to do as Indiana Jones does, and he is just as much of an adventurer as Indiana Jones.
I know, he's great.
Like when he's breaking out of the slave camp and he jumps across on that ladder and all the kids watching it. He's exactly like Indy. So Short Round rules. Never ever does Short Round in my presence.
He's great. So. Yeah, no, but yeah, no. So yeah, Death on Naboo. I think I gave it. I'll bump it down to an 8.5 because I wasn't that into the book for the first 2/3.
Yeah, really. I'm giving it an 8. Not to always agree, but you know,
it's fine.
The book's fine.
Everybody knows we agree on these books. We're just discussing them. We're discussing we agree on almost all Star Wars topics. You know,
I know.
Our big fight on the Rise of Skywalker episode. I just re-listened to the Rise of Skywalker episode, everybody, for some reason. I don't know why I did. But our big fight was about the training course or whatever. And like, my argument against you was that, like, that seems like a silly thing to be mad about, and you seemed too mad about it. It wasn't that I was like, that was great. It was just like, you know, I was just like, who cares about that? It's like 5 seconds of the movie. and then, like, it's just very funny to me that was our big fight on that episode.
Yeah, I know, right?
I feel like we're the only Star Wars podcast or YouTube show or whatever that, like, our big Rise of Skywalker fight was so minor because we agree on everything.
I just think the rocks, like, floating around her is just so, like, it's too, like, corny.
I get where you're coming from. I don't care. It was more
to me it's such like Star Wars fan art. Like, it doesn't. It's not like, I don't know. It's just.
That's the whole movie, so that makes sense.
Yeah, that whole movie.
All right.
Oh my god.
Anyway, we here we are at the end of the episode.
Yep. And next week
we are talking about
Galaxy of Fear
once again.
Number 6, Army of Terror.
Army of Terror.
And this cover, I don't know if you...
Yes, we talked about this. Darth Vader with
with the
Zach
children
and what's her name?
and Tash.
Tash.
Yep. So there we're promised an adventure with Vader.
Let's hope for
at
some
least.
good Vader stuff next week in the Army of Terror, and then the following week. That's a pre 9/11 book, right? Yeah, not right. I know it is. It is.
And then the
following week we'll be back to Last of the Jedi with A Tangled Web, number 5.
With this sheaf cover, which I would argue is Cliff's John Van Cliff. Is that his name?
John Van Cleef.
Yeah, John Van Cleef. This is his best cover in this series. So
I agree.
This is his last
I actually
one,
like that cover for the most part.
Yeah.
It still looks like a video game, but yeah, looks like a cell shit. It looks like a Sly Cooper game from like 2004, but yeah. Anyway, so
Sly Cooper.
Yeah, classic.
My brother played the first game, and I was like,
played it in my life.
It was
I read about it
because it came out like the
EGM,
same time as like Ratchet and Clank. Like
It
Ratchet
was
and
like
Clank was the same game.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It was the other one, not Ratchet and Clank.
Something's Jack and Daxter, or
it was Ratchet and Clank. I was mixing that up with Jack and Daxter. It was right around the same time. Ratchet and Clank. I only know about this because I read EGM back then. I was a GameCube boy through and through. But I read EGM every month. Great magazine. But yeah. Anyway. All right. So, okay. It's very hot here, and I have my air conditioning off, so let's wrap this up. Check us out. Social media.
Yeah, check us out on social media. Padawan Library at everything. So, until the books are due back.
The library is closed. Padawan Library is hosted and produced by Tim May and Levi Peretic. It is edited by Tim May. Our theme song is by the Astral Project. Our artwork is by Freddie Funbuns. Copyright 2020, Tim May and Levi Peretic, all rights reserved.